G'day, my name's Will Shackel and I'm a 17-year-old nuclear energy advocate from Down Under. As you can see, I'm currently at the Australian Pavilion here at COP28, and as many of you would know, I started a petition calling on the Australian delegation at COP28 to support nuclear energy. Now, why is that? I think that whilst Australia is doing fantastic work in terms of deploying renewables, that we must consider nuclear energy as part of that energy mix if we want to be taken seriously on climate action. Nuclear energy is uniquely positioned as an energy source, which is one of the most cleanest and reliable forms of energy. And as we've seen at COP, nuclear has been a major focus here. There's a few reasons for that. First of all is the location. COP28 this year is being held in the UAE, which is home to the largest source of clean power in the region, the Baraka nuclear power plant. And I had the pleasure of visiting that a few days ago, as many of you would have seen in my previous update. In addition to that, there's been many nuclear-related announcements. One yesterday from the nuclear industry in order to increase nuclear deployment, but there's also a much more major one which would have got a lot of coverage back home in Australia from government, which was an announcement to triple global nuclear energy capacity by 2050, and that was a pledge that was signed by 22 nations, including the US, and it also included a statement calling on the World Bank and other financial institutions to open up their funding for clean nuclear energy. So what I would say is thank you to the over 5,500 of you, just simply mind-blowing numbers, who have signed that petition calling on the Australian delegation at COP28. No action so far, but I think if Australia wants to be taken seriously on climate action, hopefully they will listen to our demands, and hopefully we'll see some action before COP, but I don't think that's too likely. Now, in addition to that, honestly, COP28 is a very tiring experience. As you can see, there are a lot of people here, so a lot's always happening. It's very, very tiring, I can assure you. So I've done my best, but today in terms of what else I've been able to do, so specifically I did some advocacy at Nuclear for Climate's main booth and mini booth, which is great, a great opportunity to meet lots of people from around the world and to answer their questions about nuclear energy, and also the situation here in Australia. And in addition to that, I think which is a really interesting experience was actually meeting Charles Oppenheimer. So for those who don't know, Charles Oppenheimer is the grandson of Robert Oppenheimer, who is of course the main figure in the film Oppenheimer, so the creator of the atomic bomb and leader of the Manhattan Project. And Charles Oppenheimer is really interesting because obviously, you know, he's the grandson of Robert Oppenheimer, but in addition to that, he's an advocate for the peaceful use of clean nuclear energy. So I had a fantastic opportunity to talk to him, got a photo with him, as everyone would do. And in addition, I interviewed him to discuss his advocacy and why he thought that nuclear energy was essential in reaching net zero. So really, really interesting person to talk to about that, especially in terms of his family's context. The only other thing I'd point out is this was something I did last night, and I haven't really talked about it much, but I was invited to attend an event with Andrew Twiggy Forrest, where he launched at COP28 the first ammonia-powered ship. It was brilliant. Now, unfortunately, you're not actually allowed to power with ammonia yet. It's banned. Not actually allowed to sail it into ports anywhere in the world except Singapore. So in Dubai, it wasn't actually being powered by ammonia, but I think it's very important to have these experiences, and I really appreciated that. No, I was wearing my shirt, which identifies me as a nuclear advocate, but I'm someone who believes that all options should be on the table, all technologies, and I certainly thought that the prospect of having clean shipping through ammonia was something that was really, really fascinating. And hopefully will be commercially realised. And I think we can all be optimistic when someone like Andrew Forrest is the one backing it. So I think that's really important to make clear. For people who think that I'm a nuclear absolutist, I'm not. I think that nuclear is just one part of the solution, which is often not discussed. Renewables have a major role. It's fantastic Australia's developing and deploying renewables. And in addition to that, other technologies that are yet to be created and are only just being created, whether it's ammonia shipping or green hydrogen and nuclear, also do have a role. So thank you everyone for signing and sharing the petition. I'm looking forward to an eventful few next days. Apologies for how long this update is. And thank you everyone for your support of my travels and my advocacy here at COP28.